So I have been on a bit of a planner journey this year. I started with bullet journaling, then I moved into the Hobonichi Cousin and Hobonichi Weeks. I then moved into Notion, and then moved into what I am currently using, which is my Rings planner system that I have been slowly but surely adding to little by little. And I think of everything that I've tried this year, I'm going to hesitantly throw out there that my ring system has actually been working the best for me. And there's actually, now that I think about it, like quite a few reasons for that. First of all, I pretty much have everything all in one place, which when you have really bad memory problems, like I do, is kind of important. What I mean by that is if I don't have my planner like pretty much out and open and in front of me at all times, I kind of forget most of the contents in there and that they exist at all. Like having multiple planners and needing to keep track of multiple planners was just too much. And like the only reason I was doing that with having more than one planner was because I was finding that no one planner was like covering all of my needs. So I was just adding more planners to the system. But with the Rings planner, I can actually make it fit exactly my needs and it can all be in one book, which is kind of amazing. Yeah, so that's been fantastic. And on that note, the next reason that I think this has been working so well for me is that flexibility, actually. As in, I can customize this to fit exactly my needs, whatever those may be, however strange they may be. Like, I can make my exact perfect planner that is, made to fit what I need, which is, I'm repeating myself, but I don't know. I don't know why I get so excited about that. I just do. So yeah, it's absolutely a work in progress still. But to say the least, I have definitely been enjoying the process of putting this together and experimenting. And this is what I have so far. I will start with the main sections, the meat and potatoes of my planner, if you will. So here is my daily and weekly spread. And you may notice something a little strange about this layout. That's right, they're actually on the same spread. What? So as I've mentioned, I have an absolute horrible memory, and I was noticing that I would like write down a to-do list for the week in my weekly section, and then as soon as I closed it, it's gone. I've forgotten it. And I'm probably not gonna look at it as often as I should. But also, even if I do look at it, like the sensation every time I look at it of, oh my God, I completely forgot that thing is kind of like disorienting. It's not pleasant. I don't like it. So I'd rather it just be open all the time with my day and that I can like see all of those things together in one spread, which is why this spread looks the way that it does. So I've been experimenting with having a one-sided week and a one-sided day spread on either side of each other. And I'm sure this might sound strange to a lot of people, but I think I kind of like it. I'm not forgetting about the rest of my week on a regular basis, and I also have plenty of space to write for each day. And, like because it's a rings planner, I can literally just swap out the day when the next day comes. Just add it on top of it, which is nice and makes this possible at all. I've experimented with a few different versions of this so far. For the week side, at one point I had the week boxes at the top. Then I moved them to the side. Then I made them smaller and gave room for like priorities and like main weekly goals at the top. And that's where I'm at now. I think I like it as it is, but I'll keep experimenting probably. And then the daily side hasn't changed too much. The main change that I've done really is I got rid of the timeline on the side, since I I don't know why I added it. I almost never use that timeline in the Hobonichi Cousin when I was using it. And I didn't use it here either. And then the few times that I did use it, I didn't really like how it looked anyway. So I just got rid of it. It's mostly like that side long box for the most part is where my to-do list is going to go, rather than like a schedule. So that's what that is for. And then I also added a little box at the top left corner of my daily spread, which I have been using to represent my day with a small doodle, which I kind of like because it's a easy visual way to look back at my past days and get a really good gist of like what happened. And also it's just a good excuse to practice drawing. So in order to make this whole layout of having my day on one side and my week on the other side, I had to figure out what to do with the backside of the page, which I honestly got kind of stuck on for a while because in order for me to swap out the day every day and still have my week on the other side, like the day always had to be on the left-hand side. So basically I had to figure out what to do with the backside of that page, if that makes any sense. And I got kind of stuck on that for a while. But what I ended up doing, and that I've actually been liking a lot more than I anticipated, is I ended up using the back side of the page, of my daily page, as a review. So I'm still trying things out for now. But what I've been doing is I've been dividing it into three boxes, and I've been using it for what I did, what I didn't do, and like what I'd like to do tomorrow and or just a general review of the day, which is nice because it sort of creates this like running to-do list where I always have this spot where I specifically have things that like didn't get done, and then I can kind of like easily look back and evaluate like, okay, do I still need to do those things? Are they not that important actually? Like that kind of thing. But it is nice just having them like in one place and like having them in the same place every day makes it really easy to like flip back through. And then I've actually pretty much just been doing the exact same thing on the back of the week page. So, same thing, I have a summary of what I did, what I didn't do, and a spot for review or what I want to focus on next week. And I will say, I kind of like the, I don't know how to describe it, but like the flow of pages here, where like I can see, you know, like what I did during the day plus what I want to do the next day, like in that one spread. And then same thing with the weeks. You know, I can see what I did during the week, and then right there on the other side, I can see what, you know, how I think it went and what I want to focus on next week. And I don't know, I just like the way that all of that information is like in one spread. And next, I have the monthly spreads, which are really still a work in progress, as is everything in this planner at this point in time. But this is what I have so far. So, first off, I have a basic calendar page with a few tweaks that I added. Like instead of having the empty column on the left side, I actually ended up putting it on the right side, mostly because I like having Friday, Saturday, and Sunday grouped together on one page rather than having Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday grouped on a page. I don't know, that just, it feels better to my brain that way. The other thing that I really wanted to focus on my like monthly spread here is just having as much space as possible in each of the boxes, like the little day boxes, so that I have plenty of room to write if I need it. So I kept the dates smaller and more minimal. And yeah, that's really kind of it. It is a very, very basic monthly layout, but it works. I might add more stuff to it later and experiment with it. But for now, this is nice. I like it as it is, I think. I also have a few other pages for my month since I usually never really feel like I have enough space for monthly planning in most planners that I've ever used. So in addition to the calendar, I also added just a like no due date to do list spot for things that I probably should do at some point during the month, but don't necessarily have a hard to do date to them. It's really just a to do list, it's nothing fancy, but I like the fact that I have a spot for it. And then I also have a spot more specifically for monthly goal setting and tracking. And lately, how I've been trying to do that is with a almost a mind map kind of, but like actually more like a quote unquote goal map. Like on one end of the map is where I am now, and on the other end of the map is where I want to go. And then I basically just try to connect the dots. And then I try to keep it as visual as possible by adding doodles as well. Like, here's my little start base camp, and there I am climbing the mountain of my goal. Which, anytime I can make things more visual, my brain is always like much more happy than, just a giant wall of text or even a giant to do list. My brain processes this information better than a wall of text, if that makes any sense. And then on the other side, I'm not exactly sure how I'm going to fill it out still, but I think I would like to track like when I worked on my goal and like what I did, maybe any important milestones that I ended up hitting along the way, stuff like that. I just want to visually see how I have been making my way through the quote unquote map over time throughout the month, and be able to like kind of like sort of reinforce for myself that I'm like doing it and like working towards the goal and like visually see that. So, this next section may look a little excessive to some people, but I have found it to be really helpful so far. So, I really struggle with staying focused on one task at a time. Like, I will do little bits of work in a lot of different areas rather than just doing one thing at a time, which usually means I don't actually finish anything. I am way more stressed than I need to be and just generally less productive, I feel. So, what I have been doing is I have been writing down one task to focus on at a time, and then also breaking that task down into like its teeniest, tiniest possible components, which also helps me with another issue that I face, which is task paralysis. So, giving myself those teeny baby step tasks to like get me started on the task is actually really working for me, because honestly without them I could sit there meaning to start working on a task for like an embarrassing amount of time, quite frankly. So this is kind of breaking that down a little bit, which is so nice. Anyway, in addition to that, I also have a hard time with time blindness, as well as understanding how long it actually takes me to do things. So, what I have been doing is I have actually been grouping my little task list into like Pomodoro time blocks. So, just to explain my entire process here, what I do is I write down the time block, when I started it, set my timer usually for an hour, and then write down all of the very small mini tasks that I do within that time block. And then sometimes I put like a mini goal with the time block as well, like what I want to complete in the hour. But honestly, my time estimates are so off that doesn't usually happen. Hopefully, I will get better with that over time though. But it's like overall, it's interesting to see how long it actually takes me to do things versus how long I think it's going to take. And like I said, it's usually very, very wrong. I also have a project section to help keep track of all of my ongoing projects. At the front, I just have a list of all of my projects and what stage they're in, which is helpful because quite honestly, I will forget about them if I do not have that list to reference. And then after that, I just have a bunch of nat charts that show when I worked on each project. And yeah, that's really it. It's more so for like tracking what I did and when rather than planning out ahead. And it's mostly there to help with my time blindness and memory issues because I won't remember like what I did, how long it took, yeah, all of that stuff. It's also kind of a way to help me see like so I have a bad habit of just like opening new projects without ever finishing any of them, which like, leads to me spending a lot of time on something but like never actually finishing it. I do that a lot. That's been a big issue. So I'm hoping that by seeing, at least seeing all of the open projects that I have and remembering that they exist, and seeing that I started this project way back how many months ago and I still haven't finished it, I'm hoping that that will help, even a little bit, help me actually finish the projects. So we'll see. I think it's been helping. At the very least, it is helping my awareness of this issue. So that's something, at least, I guess. Yeah, that is mostly what I have so far. It is still a work in progress, and there are still a lot of things that I want to add to this, but I am like super excited about all of the possibilities and just the ability to like customize it as much as I want. At some point, I'd also like to focus on making it a bit more aesthetically pleasing as well. So far, I've been mostly concerned with just making sure that it's actually functional for me as a planner. But yeah, at some point I'd like it, at least some nicer looking tabs rather than the post-it notes that I've been using so far. Eventually, I'd also like to print on nicer paper as well. I am currently using the Kokuyu Campus Business printer paper, which is not bad by any means. It's actually it's totally fine. But I also have some Tomoe River paper that I've been holding off on using because it is a bit more expensive. And I don't know, something about printing on it for like all of these kind of experimental pages that I've been doing, knowing that I might not end up using it, is, I don't know, a weird mental hurdle for me for whatever reason. So yeah, I do like the binder I'm using though. I think I have found that for me, about a 0.7 inch ring is the most comfortable. Anything bigger than that and it gets difficult to write in for me, which means I'm just not going to use it, period. I also like the size of the binder in general. Like it's not too big. I don't like when it's too wide. I actually like when it's like fairly close to the size of the paper, if that makes sense. Like I don't want a lot of extra overhang on it. Mostly because it's easier to carry around. It's easier to open up on my desk without taking up a whole bunch of space. I actually like the fact that there aren't a bunch of pockets on it, which I am surprised by because I always thought that I would enjoy having those extra pockets on the side, but it actually just kind of adds like bulk to the like planner that I don't necessarily like. I don't know, just to me it feels more cumbersome to like actually write in it when it has all of that stuff on it. So I'm kind of surprised by it, but I am actually enjoying the more minimal, like it's literally just the flap there and like the closure and then the rings and that's it. Like there's no pockets or anything extra in this, which like is actually just making it easier to write in. So yeah, I like that a lot. I like that it sort of resembles a like traveler's notebook, which is a look that I really like, even though I'm pretty sure that system would not work for me. But this still has like the kind of almost traveler's notebook look to it with like the band closing it and everything like that. But yeah, I am, generally speaking, like very happy with my little setup so far. It is drastically different than what I started out with this year, or really anything else that I've ever used for that matter. And I'm pretty happy with it so far. Yeah, that's about it. That is all I have for now. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Take care.